Well, hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Tingling Tea. Here at the Tingling Tea, we talk about the strange and the supernatural, the weird and the wonderful, the creepy and the cryptic, and all that is phenomenally freaky. I can't go any further without introducing my co host, the wonderful, the amazing, beautiful, and exceptionally talented and smart Annabelle Chimpton. Hello.
Hey, you like that?
Hi.
Is take it to the runway.
Yeah.
Runway.
Look, my
It's
lipstick
Pride
is
Month.
matching yours. And yes, it is. I'm so excited. We're going to
If you
talk
don't
about this.
vogue onto the screen, then
Oh, we got to
you're not
vote.
celebrating Pride.
Oh, shoot. No, no, no. I can't slay like that on it. I'm not good at the Vogue. Definitely not. Well, let's go ahead and introduce our other co host. He is our movie specialist, renowned, smart also. I couldn't do this show without him or Annabelle, two of the smartest people that I know. Friends to the end for 30 something years, Mr. Augie Eddie Ominous Peterson. How are you?
Good. You don't really need to tell them that we were friends for 30 something years because then they can figure out our age.
Shoot, I don't care. Look,
Wait a second.
black don't
I'm in my
crack.
20s. I'm in my 20s. I don't know about you.
Look, I'm okay.
I'm
okay
beginning
with
to
telling
think you're
people
not
my age.
24.
I still have an opportunity to be a teen model. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, you still have a baby face. You've always had a baby face. Once you shave that off, though, you've always looked like a baby.
It's true. I do actually have facial hair so that I don't look 12 years old. It's true.
That's
It's
true.
true.
It's absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
You always look like a baby to me, though.
Aw,
Yeah,
shucks.
every time I see you on screen, I'm like, who's that baby?
Exactly what I want to portray. That's terrific. Excellent.
Anytime.
Well,
Way to
Annabelle.
boost my confidence, Annabelle. Thanks.
Yeah, no, good thing, good thing. Annabelle said it. This is Pride Month. I'm so freaking excited.
Woohoo!
You know,
Pride Month,
Pride
Month.
Month, Pride Month.
Ooh, look
And
at
of
that
course
photo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I searched high and low for that.
That looks
So
good.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's a beautiful one. It's really a pretty, it represents everything. But this is Pride Month. So, of course, our content, you all this evening and for the whole entire month is going to be geared to our LGBTQIA2 community. So everybody's like, what the heck is two? Is one more thing added on to it? But it's a long story behind that. And one day we'll talk about that. But anyway, so yes, Pride content tonight. I'm so very, very, very excited. But before we get into any of our content, you all know that June 15th, it's going to be here. Dead by Daylight's Resident Evil chapter.
Oh my God.
Yes, yes, yes. I am so excited about this. So apparently the two characters that are there's going to be three characters from the Resident Evil franchise that are going to make an appearance in Dead by Daylight on June 15th. And by the way, yes, we will be playing that for everybody to see. I cannot wait. It's going to be Jill, Chris, and Nemesis.
Oh, yeah. And I've already seen it. I've already seen footage of it. It's really good.
It's really good. Well, I do have a trailer of Dead by Daylight and what it's going to look like. I'm very curious how we're going to take down Nemesis, or I guess we'll never take him down during this game because you don't have a gun in Dead by Daylight. So
yeah, I was about to say, it's not an option to take them down. You just got to get away from them.
You just got to get away from Nemesis. You know how hard it is to get away from Nemesis? I was terrified of Nemesis in Resident Evil 2. Terrified.
I can't wait. And I think that this is like highlighting the genius of this game is that they just make deals with everyone. And you're like, oh, hell yeah, I get to play as Nemesis now.
I totally love that. So let's look at the trailer so that we can see it. Yes, it does look good, Vince. So let's look at the trailer and see what it looks like. I'm so hyped and excited about this. All right, let's see. Here we go.
All right, here it comes.
Yep, here it comes. Here it goes. Uh-oh, I think I did something wrong. Hold on.
Anyway.
Oh, the anticipation.
We got you. Here it comes. Here we go.
You got it?
So,
yeah, here goes.
Here it comes.
This is
right here.
Yeah, I have it. No, I have it. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
So actually, it's Leon. Leon's never met Nemesis ever in any other franchise. I just want to know who the hell had a gun. That's what I want to know. And why can't I have one? I just don't know if I'm gonna make it. When we play this game, when we play this live, I'm gonna be screaming all over the place. I'm telling you, Nemesis terrified me in the game. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
And let me tell you, they did a really good job on his skin.
Yeah.
I've seen images of people playing as Nemesis and people playing as the other two people. I don't know their names.
Jill and Leon.
Yeah, and Nemesis is pretty freaking cool, and he has like something that comes out of his hands that can come out and infect you.
Oh, so obviously, Eddie, you've never played the old Resident Evils. Is this what you're telling me?
Oh no, I have not played the old Resident Evils.
Yeah, no idea who Nemesis is.
He has no idea who
Nemesis is. But he's like a scary person with a tentacle that comes out of his arm.
Okay, so I think that you need to do some research on Nemesis before we play him.
More research?
More research. Right. Definitely do new research. So we can't
You need to educate yourself before you're allowed to play Nemesis.
I need to educate myself.
Yeah.
How can I say?
Absolutely. You can't play this game without having that context behind it, because that's what's going to make it so much more terrifying for you. And actually, what I would suggest is go back and look at somebody's gameplay of the upgraded version right now of who Nemesis is and what he is. And I also recommend watching the movie Resident Evil 2 that was done with Mila Jovovich. Although it doesn't really run with the storyline of the game, at least you get an idea of who Nemesis is there.
Okay.
Somewhat. They kind of changed the lore a little bit in that movie. But that, by the way, that's my favorite Resident Evil movie that came out for the franchise. So with that being said, before we go any further, I do have to make this disclaimer. You all, this is very creepy content that we discuss on the Tingling Tea. So if this is the kind of content that you don't like, please turn us off or turn us down. And if you have kids watching, we ask that you use parental discretion about our content, especially tonight, because some of our content will go a little deep. So we do want to make that disclaimer. You know, we don't want to get it. We don't want to be accused of corrupting anybody's mind. You know,
I'm accused of that daily.
I know, right?
Right. I can't open my mouth without doing that. That's why I have a podcast.
This show is actually the gay agenda. So watch out.
Definitely. If you don't know anything about the gay agenda, or if you're not down with the gay agenda,
after watching a couple of our episodes, you're going to be gay as hell. That's the warning.
Yes, that's true.
That is hilarious. I don't know if I can say that from my perspective. You know,
you're gonna have a rainbow flying out of your ass. That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna be a gay, or you're gonna be an ally. So definitely,
they both lead to rainbows on the ass.
That's true.
Definitely.
Ass rainbows.
Yes, I'm all rainbows. It's not panic. Definitely. So as promised, last week, I did mention that we were going to do a whole segment on Djinns, because we were talking about Djinns last month, and you all did not know. Yeah, I had to put that in there. We had to. That's not what a real Djinn looks like.
Is that like Ricky Gervais? Who is that?
I don't know who it is, but I thought it was hilarious.
That's a real one found in the wild.
That's
a real Djinn.
That's a real Djinn. I think that's the more romanticized Djinn.
It's definitely not Will Smith.
No, it's definitely not the Will Smith one. Definitely not the Robin Williams Djinn. It's this is we're talking about the Djinn, the serious Djinn, the real life, scary Djinn that's in Muslim. It's none of the genies. It's none of that. It doesn't come out of a lamp and everything like that. No, we're talking about the real dealy deal right tonight. So last time that we were talking about this last month, we were talking about cryptids from Asia, and this came up, a Djinn, and we had this discussion about what a Djinn is. And so it's in Arabian and Muslim mythology. It's an intelligent spirit of lower ranking angels or demons that come and appear in humans and animal form and possess humans. Now, what we normally see on TV and stuff like that is the romanticized version of it. But these little buggers, believe it or not, are terrifying when it comes to Islamic folklore and tradition and what is written actually in the Holy Quran. So yes, the derivative of Djinn is genie, which we call like a genie in a bottle. That's the Americanized terminology of it. Mm-hmm. But it is a very treacherous, shape-shifting, evil, diabolic spirit. And understand that this is why in some of the stories that we've read, like Arabian Nights and such, that they have been put in bottles so that they don't cause any trouble. They put them, or they expel them into a bottle. Kind
of like the Ghostbusters, just sucking it into one of their traps.
Exactly. That's what somebody did. They exorcised the Djinn and they put it in a bottle. And then whoever comes across the bottle, in order for them to be released, they grant them their wishes. But there's always a twist, isn't it always, when you're dealing with demons? So yeah, so we're going to get into, our Djinns this week. And so the first one that we're going to talk about is the one that we talked about last week, and it was the Ifrit. And so the Ifrit, as we talked about it before, was he is a demon. Well, actually, there's several types. This is a powerful demon that's associated with the underworld. He is also called the Ifrit, the Ifrit, and he is a classical, powerful, malevolent, supernatural being. Okay, he's written about in the Quran. He's spoken about in Muhammad's words. This one is, he is a formidable, rebellious being from heaven.
Malevolent.
Very malevolent. Yes, very malevolent. And the thing about Ifrit, and this is something that people don't realize.
And he's like a bodybuilder.
Exactly. He and I will say this, that most of the Djinns that we're talking about are absolutely gorgeous, or they appear to be. Their physique and everything, the way that they're described. But if you think about it from this context, these are fallen angels. So angels are beautiful, and they're warriors. So imagine these are not like little bitty scrawny little demons. These are powerful, muscular, beautiful beings that have turned evil.
I'm not sure this painting is anatomically correct. I think there's a few more ripples in there than are.
Well, who knows?
It must be a Djinn. Must be a special Djinn.
It's the standards that they put on your hand.
Right. He's not
unattainable standards.
He's not unattainable, Barbie proportions. He isn't that.
Yeah, if your arms don't look like that, you're not a real Djinn.
You can't just have one bump. You have to have like 6.
So let me tell you something about Djinns. Djinns are so renowned, even in the Bible, that when Solomon built the temple and he had all this wisdom, which he prayed for wisdom, and God gave him, godly wisdom that was supernatural wisdom, Solomon was able to actually, with a ring, summon and command demons. And they say that the Temple of Solomon was built by these demons on his command because they couldn't understand how it got built so quickly. But he instructed them to do it. Wow. He had the ability to command them. So this is how powerful they are. I mean, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And they're called Ifrit.
They're called Ifrit, yes. But these are the most evil ones. And so let's go on to our next one that we are talking about. And that would be the Marid. So the Marid, interestingly enough about the Marid is a Djinn. That's all. It's a powerful being with that. It feeds off of detestation. If that makes any sense. Yes. And it's usually in climates where it's cold. That's where you might mostly find them. Cold, dark climates.
Okay. Called Marid. And it's from the ocean?
Well, not necessarily. I think that in this one that's written that maybe the ocean was cold or this thing came from the sea. I'm sure that they can operate in any type of element. But this is a dark being as well. But it operates, it does have an affinity for water and the cold and darkness.
And I see it belongs to the same Djinn as the last one.
Yes.
The Djinn.
The Djinn. All of these are Djinns. All of these are Djinns, but they have titles.
Djinn, remember?
Right, Djinns and Jews. They all have a name though.
But all the Djinns go to the same gyms.
Oh Lord.
And they work out.
Gyms. Djinns and gyms.
They all have the same workout routine at the gym. All the Djinns working out the gym.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I can't. But anyway, let me tell you about this being. When it's angry, and especially when it's hungry and it's feeding, it tends to distort and out of reflex. The hair turns anywhere from gold to blonde, and the eyes turn violet, and shades of its eye affected. Depending on the ferocity of the emotion, the facial features change. They become rounder and gaunt. So it actually changes into like a skull-like snout, which is, I guess, its true demonic form when it's angry. So I guess you don't want to make this one angry.
Jeez.
Definitely
Are there any videos of this? I'd love to see.
Well, I do have videos. I have one more Djinn to introduce this evening. And of course, I have some video.
Did I just set you up and I didn't even know it?
Yes, you did. That was a segue. You segue. But you know, I could not go without having some footage of what people have been describing as Djinns, infestations of Djinns in homes and stuff. And so this is the last one that we're going to feature. And this is called the Djinnan or the Jawan, or singular, the Djinn. Okay. So now the Djinn is a shapeshifter that lives in the desert, and it takes the form of whirlwinds and white camels. Now they're very open-minded about humans, and supposedly this is how they are when they approach or they encounter people. They've been very open-minded. They have the power to hide or reveal oases in the desert, depending on whether they like or dislike you. Yes. So I would say that the genies in the bottles are more typical of what a Djinn is.
Yeah, they definitely look like Djinns. I mean, they look like that one on the left looks like a belly dancer.
Right.
Actually, the one on the right just reminds me of like something you would see in Star Wars.
Right.
And so they sound more like chaotic neutral. Like they could go either way.
So they actually have they actually appeal to they appeal to human beings, and they have affinity for human beings. So the story is that these fallen angels have looked upon the women of this world and actually had love affairs with them, and this is why we have giants in the past. Like David and Goliath, the story of David and Goliath, Goliath's father was actually a fallen angel, and that's why he was a giant. So this is pretty common of them. But they appear to be beautiful, of course, because they look like a mirage if you're out in the desert. But in actuality, they probably look like the being that's in the center.
That's not very nice.
It's just an illusion. That's what it is. It's just an illusion. Yeah. So anyway, you did ask me if I had any, let me just get out of this. You asked me if I had any footage of these Djinns. Well, yes, I do. Well, let's just say that these are not necessarily infestations, but people have claimed that these are Djinns. Now, with the Arabic culture, and with the Islamic culture as well, as same being the same, a haunting is a Djinn. That means because, you know, having a spirit that has not gone on to heaven basically means that you're down here corrupting other things else. You're corrupting the natural order of things. So you're considered to be demonic.
One of the ghost types in Phasmophobia is a Djinn.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Tell us, in Phasmophobia, this Djinn, what is it that actually provokes this being? Because each one of them has a description in Phasmophobia, am I correct?
Yeah, I forget exactly, but Phasmophobia has like specific behaviors that describe a Djinn ghost. Maybe I can pull it up. Let me double check that for you.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and show this first footage. This footage is from a guy by the name of NSNiz6. He actually posted this footage on YouTube. So let's take a look at this.
Is this where we have to stretch it out a little bit?
But keep talking. Don't rely on me. You know, keep talking.
All right.
Let's look at this. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I was just about to talk. All right.
قسما بالله أنا اتحركت قبل شوي ورب الكعبة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. مغامرة بيت الشيطان هذه يا أخوان.
He's actually praying right now. He's doing the Al-Fatiha, which is the prayer to Allah.
السلام عليكم يا أخوان من إنس وجان. لا إيش دخل إنس بسم الله. وأنا حاسبنا في واحد قسم بالله بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. سمعتوا؟ والله العظيم طلع صوت ابن 60 كلب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. إيش هذا؟ أقسم بالله هذه جديدة والله يا أخواني هذه جديدة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إيش هذا؟ هذا موية. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إيش هذا؟ ليكون سحر. ليكون سحر. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيك إذا أنت جن. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيك إذا كنت خادم سحر. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيكم. سحبت. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
So basically, yes.
I have goosebumps.
So basically, what I've been seeing is a lot of these content. These people are going to these abandoned homes in Arabic countries and finding these spirits still there. Now, I do have one more. This one is very interesting. In this one, I think they're in England. I think this takes place in England. This gentleman calls up on a show, and he is talking to this imam, who is like he's the head of a mosque, and he's usually the one that imparts the holy word of the Quran. And this woman who is possessed by a jinn calls. So let's look at this. This is very interesting. And I want you to look at the guy that's the interviewer. Look at his face and how uncomfortable he looks. So let's take a look at this.
I don't know. I'm still getting over the last one. That guy has cojones. Let me tell you.
That guy was playing real life Phasmophobia.
Yeah, he definitely was. And he was by himself. So let's take a look at
this. And he did not run away. He just kept going in and going in.
He kept saying his prayers. He kept saying his prayers and his praises to Allah. So here, let's watch this one.
I'll answer your question. You've got any situation with hard to call up, inshallah ta'ala. We've got our first caller, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You okay, sister?
What it is I'd like to ask Brother Abu Muhammad, when people go to see these beers, they jump in without doing Salatul Istikhara. I personally have had an experience where I've done Salatul Istikhara to go and see someone in India, and it came back unfavorable. I was told to open up the tariza that was sent to me by him, and the tickets for the visa, everything was already prepared. But then when the visa were opened, we'd seen that in the tariza there was like one man standing with the left hand forward, left foot forward, Allah's name on the left leg. Also,
now I believe what she's talking. Hold on.
Also, when people, I'm sorry, I can't speak no more.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت الذي إذا شئت تجعل الحزن سهلا. اللهم سهل. Oh Allah, give her the speech, inshallah. Allahumma, give her the power to continue her speech, ya Allah. Carry on, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sorry about that. But when I'm doing Salatul Istikhara and the taweez, I've opened up as well. There were 3 taweez, one for under my pillow, one to carry with me, and
so she's talking about like a charm.
Me when it was opened up,
she's talking about a charm that was given to her.
With, like how a noose is around a person's neck. That was on it. It had Firaun's name in it, Abu Jahal's, Hamans, and all this and that. And this is what I'm curious at, is why do people not do Salatul Istikhara before going to see somebody? I personally done Salatul Istikhara to see Brother Abu Muhammad. It was snowing. Everyone told me not to go to see him. It's snowing, you're going to get stuck and everything. And I found that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the doors for my treatment to be started, alhamdulillah. And it's been really good because alhamdulillah, I can start reading my namaz now. I can start doing good things again. Whereas when it comes back on me is by my own mistake, I find this time I've made a mistake. See? And because they don't want me to go to court, and I haven't gone to court, this is my mistake. See? And the Djinns themselves have told Brother Abu Muhammad, they are here to prevent me from going to court.
My sister, why they prevent you to go to court?
Because they do not want me to speak against a brother.
So do you mean a magician or somebody send this jinn to block you to speak or to go to court?
Yes, we blocked.
You blocked her, ya Aduullah. You enemy of Allah, you blocked her, huh? But inshallah, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala block you in this dunya and the akhirah. Remember, ya ayyuhal jinn. Remember, inshallah, that you are going to stand before Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah, and Allah going to ask you why you entered this body. What you are going to say to Allah Ta'ala Yawm al-Qiyamah? يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. Huh?
And the cooler's gone. All right.
What you are going to say to Allah Ta'ala or the jinn in that body?
No!
What you are going to say to Allah Ta'ala? What you are going to say to Allah? Are you Muslim or non-Muslim?
No!
Muslim or non-Muslim?
No!
Muslim or non-Muslim? Who created you? Who created you? Who created you? Who created you and why? Huh? Remember that you are going to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are going to die, yeah? And remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Yawm al-Qiyamah, He will ask you why you entered the body of that lady. I'm going to say to him, Ya Allah told me, go and ruin her life. Go and stop her talking, yes? But it will be late. Allah will send you to Jahannam khalidina fiha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, and He said, don't fear.
So basically, what happened is this woman called and she was possessed. And what possessed her was that she went to a mystic, a magician, and a jinn was speaking through the magician and told her not to go testify against somebody in court. And one of your duties as a tenet of faith in Islam is that you must tell the truth. You must go if you got to go to court and you got to testify against somebody that you saw do something, you have to go. You can't bring false witness. But because the truth was going to be exposed, the jinn blocked her from doing this, and so they sent this jinn to block her from speaking in court.
Wow, that was another just such a compelling video. I was riveted by listening to them and their reaction to this woman, or their calmness, right? Their lack of reaction, and just the faith that he immediately sort of spoke with in reaction to what she was going through. That was really something.
But the guy that was the interviewer was very uncomfortable. He was trying to be very man up on it, but if you notice, he was drinking water and stuff like that. He was terrified.
It made me uncomfortable because I think there's really only 3 possibilities for this video. Mm-hmm. 1, it's staged. 2, it's real. Or 3, this person is legitimately very, very disturbed. And I feel like the only one I would hope it really is that it was like a television stunt. But if it's not that, it's something really sad and disturbing.
Yeah. And it was not a television stunt because they were not there to talk about that specifically. They were just talking about religion. That was not meant to happen. This woman calling up on the phone. She just called to ask a religious question.
Yeah, that was amazing.
This was to happen. Yeah.
That was amazing. And you can tell at least the guys on stage weren't anticipating it, that's for sure.
Oh no, they were totally surprised. And the funny thing is when I first viewed the video, mm-hmm. I thought the same way you did, Annabelle. I was like, is this possibly staged? But then I went and did some research on it and looked at it and said, okay, she's either disturbed or she's actually possessed. But I was checking out the guy that was the interviewer, and I could see that he was very, very scared. He was trying very hard as a man to sit there as a religious man and to sit there and not be provoked or to show any type of fear. But you could tell that he was nervous. And at one point, you thought that she had completed the phone call. He thought so too. He was ready to move on. And she came back and she started talking again. The demon started talking to her again.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like in her, there was like the first initial moment where she sort of starts slurring and you recognize that something is amiss. I've seen that happen with, as I've been talking to friends that have epilepsy and things like this, where they have mild mall seizures usually, where things like that happen. And that's what it reminded me of. And you just have to wait for that episode to pass, and then you continue with your conversation. But as she went on, and as she started to address the people as a Djinn itself, like it was no longer her trying to say something; it was more someone trying to say something through her. That was really compelling. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. I thought at first that it was possibly her having a seizure until she started laughing. And I've never seen anybody in seizure mode laugh.
I have. Actually, that was like when I was.
That was a controlled laughter. That was a very controlled laughter.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true. When I was younger, I was in a relationship with someone, and that's how they would. They through an attack. Mm-hmm. But I can see where that was beyond anything that I've experienced. So yeah. That's pretty scary stuff.
Yep. You should have seen me today putting this content together and actually watching that, and I was like, oh, it just was like, oh, gave me the chills.
You have given us two. You have given us 2 videos that have absolutely given me the chills.
I agree. I think these are 2 of the most compelling videos you've picked out so far, Les.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep it coming.
I'm like looking down my dark hallway now.
Hey, it is very, very, very scary. But anyway, let's move on because we really have some really neat content for Ahi to share with us this evening. And I'm really excited to get to this segment. I mean, what better than LGBTQIA +2? Put that 2 on there. Horror. And if anybody's asking what the +2 is, please let me explain this before we go any further.
Please do, because I don't know this either. Please.
So I actually posted this today in our chat channel. So +2 is two-spirit. People who are from the indigenous community call people from the LGBTQIA world two-spirit people. And the history of two-spirit people within the indigenous community is that they have a very ancient I would say, a traditional place within indigenous societies. It's not until modern religion came in and had some say-so about people who were living LGBTQIA. So now they are now reclaiming this tradition, because there were people that were from this community that they would send their children to teach them about the world, about sex, about crafts. These are people who traditionally did not stay in a specific role, where women may have weave baskets and men went to war. These were people who did both. So they were considered to be very spiritual and very blessed individuals. And like I said, it was not until modern religion came in that they tried to get rid of this society, which we now are bringing back. So.
Wow. I love that. I think that makes perfect sense now.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining.
You are absolutely welcome on that one. All right. So let's talk about some of the films that we're going to talk about. I set up this up because I thought it was like 5 films that from the LGBT community that you've never seen. I've never seen any of these films.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about your first one.
That's right. And I'm so happy to be back in the comfort zone of talking about movies again.
They made their bed.
That's right. That's right. So the first one, as you can see, is B&B with Tom Bateman, Sean Beale, Paul McGann, Colin Woodhouse, and James Tratus. It's about gay Londoners Mark and Fred planning a weekend of mischief, baiting the Christian owner of a remote Christian bed and breakfast. Events take a deadly turn when another guest arrives who they think might have something more sinister in mind. And yes, I love the tagline, they made their bed, now they have to die in it. By the way, this was produced, this is a really good movie. I watched this, I don't know, 2 years ago or so. It's produced by the Breaking Glass Pictures. Now, Breaking Glass produces so many fantastic movies that are LGBTQIA+, and they really need a shout out for all the fantastic work that they've done. And they've done this for a long, long time. They've been producing quality content for years. So this is actually a really well-acted, engaging, wonderful story. So if you see this, I highly recommend that you guys watch this. Beautifully filmed and scary. Like at the beginning, it's similar to a lot of horror movies in that it begins like in this ideal, and then slowly that ideal starts to unravel. So, but it does center around these two gay characters, and they actually, to give you a little more insight, they actually wanted to stay at this B&B. They were turned away because of their orientation, and then they sued, and they won the suit, and so now they're coming back because they won the suit. They're coming back to the same B&B that they sued.
Oh no! Why? Why?
Because they need drama. They need some drama.
That's the setup of the film.
Yes, because why would you even go back?
That's how you get killed in a gay horror movie.
Exactly. Why would you want to go back to even now? You know there's bad blood there. Why would you even want to go back there? The lawsuit is enough.
I agree.
Because you want to go like rub it in their face or and like hold hands or something.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you.
I agree with you. I don't think it makes logical sense, but it makes for a good movie.
Okay, well I accept that. I accept that.
By the way, people are not known to be making logical, decisions in horror movies. That's just not something that's part of the horror movie reality.
No, it isn't. I mean, it is very formulaic, and we understand that they do make this. If we didn't have those kind of decisions, you wouldn't have black folks shouting at the screen. So that's what I'm saying. Why you do stuff? Yes,
it's
we
true.
will shout at the screen at somebody's stupidity.
Oh, and there's a lot of stupid people. All right, let's move on to the next one. Yes, look at this poster. Scary. Hellbent. Hellbent. The cast is Dylan Fergus, Brian Kirkwood, Hank Harris, and Andrew Levitas. And it's basically Halloween in West Hollywood, where two guys making out in a park are interrupted by a serial killer, of course. Later that night, a group of gay kids decide to visit the site of the murders, and the rest ensues. This is actually from one of the writers of Halloween.
Oh.
Yes, and an executive producer of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So it is not just your average, ridiculousness. It's not. There's a little bit of camp in there, but it's actually scary stuff. So kind of an interesting thing, which I thought was a little tidbit, which was kind of amusing. They filmed a scene in a location called, in the film, it's called Meat Locker, which is a fetish club featured in the movie, and it is actually a church in reality. So when the filming ran late on a Saturday night, the crew had to race to remove all the hanging rubber corpses before the Sunday services.
Oh my goodness.
Which I thought was a hilarious little footnote.
That's
my goodness. I love that. Hilarious. That is hilarious. I'm sure they paid that church very well.
I'm sure they did. Amen for that.
That is very Ed Woodish if you think about it.
I agree. Now, the title of this movie was selected from an online Name That Movie contest. And it was created by the producers to publicize the film. And the director was initially horrified at some of the initial submissions, which included titles like 28 Gays Later, Boy Meets Knife, Queer Eye for the Dead Guy.
Why aren't these on the list?
Finally, the last day of the contest, Hellbent was submitted, and that's what was chosen. So
28 Gays Later.
Exactly. Now, totally hilarious. So curiously, filming took place over a long period of time because they had trouble getting budget and that sort of thing. So took place over 2 years and started just a few weeks after the plot was pitched to producers. The crew went to the annual West Hollywood Halloween Carnival and to shoot B-roll footage that would be cut into the film without knowing what the story would actually be. So the crew returned to the same event the following year, this time with the actors, and completed the script to film the rest of the movie. And the filming was scattered, and the script was shot out of order with many weeks between shooting. And actually, this accounts for the kind of only inconsistent thing, and I find it very amusing, thing that you see. You see actually continuity errors in this. So you see like the hair length of the actors changing.
Oh, this is my favorite type of movie.
and you see some actors that like fluctuate in weight over time. just gotta say that's kind of, I find it amusing, but
I do too. I find that very amusing, and it is our type of film because you have to look at all those continuity. This would drive my husband crazy because now I've got him looking at continuity issues in films.
Yeah,
he's even better at it now than I am. But
I love finding continuity problems. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's my next career choice.
It sounds like it could be your next list at some point.
I think you're absolutely right. I love that. One thing that's interesting, I read an article about how the director wanted to have a very diverse cast, but the actors of color refused to audition for a gay horror movie. And I was like, what? That sounds so strange. So
when was the shot? When was the shot?
Ask you about this. It was 2004.
Okay, so 2004 has been some time ago. I mean, you're not going to find that now with everything that we have out right now with Pose and Legendary and stuff like that. I think, and we've spoken about this before, there is the stigma within the communities of color about being gay or outed. You know, you have a lot of men who portray as being straight, and in actuality, they're not. You know, and we've all talked about the Download Club. We've all talked about this. So there's this this hesitancy to put yourself on film that's going to be out there in perpetuity if you have not actually come out to your own community.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's probably the issue that you have there. So this, I mean, this is one of the reasons that we have right now with even in the trans community within people of color that is so brutalized and victimized in our community because they're told to have this, you know, to be affronted by anything that is not masculine or anything that would cause you to question your gender identity.
Sure.
And so the reaction is violence as a result of that. So it does not surprise me that they declined doing this, especially if they had not come out.
Yeah.
But now that's not the case. I mean, we're in 2021 and now you're seeing it and everybody's very proud of who they are. There are some people who are still on the DL, you know, but eventually it comes out. It always does.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I thought, you know, I was thinking, you know, here are actors that are already not cast in enough movies, and they probably didn't want to get stigmatized as being, you know, gay or yet another thing that they might be branded with to not get cast in more movies.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But thank you for adding color.
I think it was probably in 2004 what they would consider to be a dead end to their career because they're going to be continually cast like that. But like right now in 2021, this is the norm now, you know, and you've got straight people being cast as gay and gay people being cast as straight, you know.
Sure.
So.
All right. So the next movie is called Lyle. Oh, okay. Or we can do that one too.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. No. Let's do that. I think I skipped one.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, yes. You did the right one. I did the wrong one.
Okay.
The next one is called High Tension. And can we just observe this poster and just think this is the coolest poster in the world?
I think it is
look
badass.
Look at this person. They are amazing.
Yes. Her haircut is banging too, by the way. I'm loving that haircut.
I love it too. And she is just a force to be reckoned with. Look at her. Yeah. It's really about best friends and lovers. Marie and Alexia decide to spend a quiet weekend at Alexia's parents' secluded farmhouse. But on the night of their arrival, the girls' idyllic getaway turns into an endless night of horror. And this is so the creators of this movie actually are childhood friends, and they wanted to make a movie as a homage to old school horror films of the 70s and 80s. And so they created this particular movie. Now they actually modeled different, I don't want to give too much away, but they modeled different scenarios in this movie that are not exactly the same, but they looked at some of the most famous movies of the 70s and 80s, and they sort of made it work in this particular movie. So it's an homage to some of those fantastic movies, even some of the death scenes. By the way, so much fake blood was used during the shooting of this movie that when the camera was moved to another movie to film like whatever the next movie was with the camera, with the movie camera, they moved they moved it into, they were like focusing the camera, and fake blood oozed out of the camera when they were like moving the camera lens. It just oozed out. It was everywhere during this.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
So this is one of those sort of brutal movies that it takes a perfectly normal person, and it puts them through hell, and they come out at the end and they have survived, but they are forever changed.
Well, it's a very Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Very Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what, a lot of these images look like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Absolutely.
I love her hair, though.
Isn't it fabulous?
I love it.
Yeah. And I love that it centers around a lesbian couple. I think that's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see this movie now.
I do too.
Oh, it is well worth it. And it's one of those movies that was out and it was popular for a hot minute, and then, and then some other movies came along and you forgot about it. But this is definitely worth a second look. Filmed in Romania, by the way. Oh boy, that's not too good.
Ooh, that's going to grab anybody's attention if they want to see this film. That last photo right there.
Oh yeah, it is definitely going to grab your attention. All right, should we move on to the next movie?
Let's go ahead.
All right, this movie, hopefully, if I'm right, is called Lyle.
Yes.
Yes, I got it right. Woo. All right, so Lyle is actually only an hour long. It's an hour-long horror movie, and it's really about a grief and the effects that traumatic events can have on the mind. It begins with the main character, Leah, who we see here. Her name is Gabby Hoffman, the actress's name, and her girlfriend, June. They're being shown around an impressive New York apartment, and they love this New York apartment. They have their baby there, and they, start moving into this apartment, which they bought together. And she's actually pregnant, the main character that you see here, pregnant with another baby, and something happens to their child, and it is very much sort of inspired by Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, I was going to say I got those vibes on this.
Yeah, and it takes place in Brooklyn. So it's kind of fun to get those Brooklyn vibes and see those familiar Brooklyn neighborhoods in the background as you watch this movie. But you see, this main character, this main character go from, idyllic to having to survive while carrying a baby and protecting her baby. So this is a movie, again, two lesbians in the lead, which I love. I love that the story. I love stories that have gay or lesbian people in it, and it's not about being gay or lesbian. It's just about normal life, right?
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that such a treat?
Yeah, it's just like.
Yeah, I think it's important to see that perspective instead of what people are thinking stereotypically personifies, the community. Just seeing a relationship, actually happening with people raising children, being in normalcy, I think is a win-win situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's for me, it's so rewarding to see it be a non-issue. Yeah. Right. It's just like, that's the way it is. Moving on.
Yeah.
So this is actually one of those, I would call them similar to Rosemary's Baby. It's more psychological than I would say it's like gory, but it's definitely worth checking out.
I'm getting vibes of this right now of just seeing this birthday party occurring right here of one of my favorite movies, which is The Sentinel, which also took place in Brooklyn, as we remember. That is one of my favorite. I'm getting those kind of vibes about that. Look how big that apartment is. It reminds me of her looking for an apartment in Brooklyn.
Yep.
And actually finding it,
Yeah, and I'm just jealous of that apartment, quite honestly. It's just far too large.
I agree.
The square footage is envious.
Yeah, I'm envious of it too, and the big windows. I'm very envious of it, and neither one of us could afford it.
So, all right, let's move on to the last one. So the last one is called Strangers by the Lake. Have either one of you heard of this movie?
Never, ever.
No.
I'm so excited that you haven't heard of this because I watched this, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. It came out in 2013, And I hadn't heard of it either. And I didn't know what it was about. And I just started watching it. And it freaked me the heck out. It is like watching a Hitchcock movie unfold before your eyes. And what's fantastic about it is it doesn't have a soundtrack. There's no like music in the background. It's very quiet. And you see this horrific tale like being told in front of you. And what's so disturbing is the quietness throughout the entire movie. Everything like the sound of it's filmed by Lake. Everything that you hear was filmed right there on location. So it's about summertime at a gay cruising spot, tucked away on the shores of a lake. The character Frank falls in love with Michael, an attractive, potent, and lethally dangerous man. Frank knows this, but wants to live out his passion anyway. So at the beginning of the movie, I won't give up. Let me actually read you some other things. I'm afraid
Can I just say something for everybody who is watching? So when I was looking for pictures for this particular movie, it was very provocative. Understand that this is French, and they have no qualms about putting nudity out there. So a lot of the content that I was looking for was kind of what I would deem explicit for us to be looking at right now. Nice photos, by the way. But we couldn't put it up there. And so just in that aspect of it, I was like, I want to see what this movie is all about. This movie is, wow.
Yeah, it's incredibly well. Let's be frank about it. It takes place at a nude beach. So it's a place where gay men pick each other up.
Wow.
So there is sex that takes place, and these main actors are probably nude 75% of the movie. So it's not for people that don't like nudity, but what's really poignant about this is that it's not about the nudity. It's about the characters that you're watching and the story that you're watching unfold. There is explicit sex in this, so just know that.
It is French, you all. It is French.
You had me at French.
Yeah.
Is it French audio as well? Is it English subtitles?
English subtitles, yep.
English subtitles. And understand that nudity in France and explicit content, what we would consider to be explicit here in the United States, because we're so prudish sometimes, prudish, is art there. So, get your mind right before you watch this film. Don't look at it for that. Just look at it for the story that's there.
So I have to tell you, and hopefully I'm not giving too much away, but the let's see, there is a scene that was filmed. It was the first scene to be shot, and the scene was shot with an actor, Christopher Powell, and he's a real life swimmer, right? He's a very powerful swimmer, but he plays someone who doesn't seem like a powerful swimmer, and let me tell you, the scene is shot in one shot, and you don't see this actor for 4 minutes.
What?
In this one shot, and it scares the heck out of you, because you're watching something happen right in front of you, and you can't imagine what's going on because they're not cutting away. So it's very disturbing right from the very beginning.
Oh my gosh!
It's really quite an amazing movie. So
I'm totally intrigued.
I'm totally intrigued now too.
It's
totally intrigued.
This is a fantastic. By the way, the last sort of chapter of this movie, sort of the final chapter, is really scary. Like, you will be on the edge of your seat. So, at the beginning, the characters are sort of established, and then they meet each other, and then they develop, and the story goes. But then, the last chapter of this is like scary. So I really recommend you guys see this.
So what's the name of this film again, just to double share it?
Stranger by the Lake. And
Stranger by the Lake.
It's from 2013.
Hey, maybe we can let's post a list of these movies on our social media after the show tonight, so people can celebrate Pride Month and watch some of them.
Yes, it's definitely worth checking out. Kind of an interesting side note. The lead actor said, let me see if I have the lead actor said this was a very personal film for him because through this film, he was directly addressing and dealing with his sexuality on screen in an explicit manner. Wow. So I thought that was a really interesting sort of undercurrent that's going on within this movie. But it is scary, sexy, erotic, and French.
Listen, my favorite films have been always. Of course I like Hitchcock, but I also like Brian De Palma, and that always is that aspect of a Brian De Palma film. It's so what happens when something does happen is so very jarring because it lures you into this world of normalcy, and then all of a sudden something happens. And yes, there is sex and explicit content within a Brian De Palma film at that time, but it just, it takes you aback. I mean, it just, it shocks you. It's jarring.
Oh yeah.
So I can't wait to see this.
I highly recommend this. It's one of those movies where I've watched it many years ago, 5 years ago, and it's still with me. Like I still can like feel the feels that I had at that moment. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Those are the best ones.
It's seeing some of these shots for the first time in a long time. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Boy.
I want to shout out to JoJo, who said thank you for showing the Resident Evil artwork. JoJo, definitely watch us on the show this month, as we actually play the game, so you can see what it looks like if you don't have the game yourself. So we're going to be playing it.
We are going to be playing it. We're so excited.
So thank you so much, Augie. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see what you bring us next week.
Yes.
About this. I'm going to go ahead and post these films that we actually discussed today in the Facebook chat and YouTube, and also on our other social media. So excellent. So you all, same time next week we'll be here, 8:00 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday night, and we are celebrating Pride this month, so our content is going to be geared toward that. So we're so excited to get that information out to you all. For everybody that's celebrating, we want to wish you happy Pride. And where can we find each of you this week until next Thursday?
Annabelle?
You'll catch me out on the Instagrams at Annabelle_Chimpton. And I'm also in occasional Twitter. It has not been as common recently, but it's the exact same. So this is my social media handle. You'll find me.
Cool. I'm in Instagram at Augie_ominous. I'm also gaming at the same handle. And you'll find me right here.
And you'll find me here on Thursday nights and also on Saturday with the Bitten Apple TV at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time, interviewing people. I'm also playing on Twitch as SistaSlaya. You will find me there playing on Steam with SistaSlaya on Twitch. And also, I just want to announce that a series that I shot a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Death, is going to be premiering this summer. So we're going to keep talking about each episode until the series is completed. We may even talk about that next month, just to kind of give a content or backstory about that particular true life crime serial killer story.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see you on the TV show.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Do they have a trailer yet? Is there a trailer?
There is a trailer. Do you want to see the trailer before we sign off, or do you want to wait until next week?
No,
okay, let's see if we can find
let's
it.
see the trailer.
Pull it up.
Okay, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up.
Yes.
I have to tell you that I had so much fun actually filming this. Yeah. I have to tell you, it was freaking amazing, but it gave me the creeps just to know that we were actually filming something that was true life, and to think that there is some horrific person that is actually out there, living out there, that personified, that is this being, that is the serial killer. It was pretty creepy.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking that up, I'm going to look up sort of a movie that I watched last night, which was on Netflix. It's a new movie, and it actually, unfortunately, also has the killer as an LGBTQ member, and that particular, to me, that really does an injustice to the LGBTQ community whenever they sort of scapegoat or they use the fact that these people are a member of this community as an indicator that those people are off or somehow wrong, or somehow somehow making sense of their being a killer. It just makes my skin crawl. It makes me really angry. So
I say next week that we talk about that. Let's discuss that, because we all have issue with that. And I think that we should go in depth about that and how it is portrayed in particular when it comes to this kind of content. Yeah. We definitely need to get into that and have a discussion about it. So
you bet.
Without further ado, let's go ahead and play the trailer. It is going to be premiering on Peacock, you all, which is, I believe, free for everybody in an NBC's streaming network. So let's go with this. Let's show it.
So we're going to be operating on Rose Keller. Patient presented with severe back pain diagnosed as a herniated disc. It is important we are in and out with as little fanfare as possible. So, mouth shut, ears open. Let's begin.
Hey, doctor. I heard you came across some of Christopher Dunch's surgeries.
Sir, there's a lot of bleeding.
Focus on your job.
How is the patient?
Perfect. There's a hemorrhage here. You need to fix it.
So there were no complications?
I don't have complications.
I can't make sense of this. It's like he knew what he was supposed to do. And he did the exact opposite.
I could have told you the guy was a hack. What did he do?
Dorothy Burke walked in all on her own, and now she's brain dead.
Today will be minimally invasive.
He turned him into a quadriplegic. Work ethic was second to none.
Well, Ted Bundy was a good worker, too.
We all make mistakes.
But not you.
No, ma'am.
Dunch has 2 deaths. Texas has executed people for less.
All due respect, Dr. Kirby, you don't understand the law.
You don't understand who we're after.
Dunch is never going to stop on his own. You have to protect the public and suspend his license.
My patients mean everything to me, and the longer I'm here, the longer they're in pain.
You hurt these people. You saw what he did to them.
I swear I will make sure this never happens to anyone else.
If you take my license in Texas, there's an entire world out there.
The system is broken.
I have a suggestion. It's a bit extreme. He's either the most incompetent surgeon I've ever crossed paths with, or he's a sociopath.
Wow. Amazing. I have seen this. I have seen this trailer. I didn't realize this was the same one you were in.
Yes. And I did my scene with Anna Sophia Robb. She's so diminutive. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so tiny. So I remember her in A Bridge to Terabithia. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing a scene with her. You know, just so it was wonderful actually filming it. So I'm looking forward to getting out to doing more work, hopefully, you know. But yes, this is big for me. I actually got this role, and I'm so excited.
I am so excited for you. Congratulations!
Thank
I
you.
cannot wait to see you in it and celebrate all the good work that you did.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I can't wait to see this series. I mean, it's so creepy.
That is some cast. Let me tell you, that cast is like really good.
Just a little tidbit about that. Alec Baldwin's wife, Laria, she actually listened to a podcast regarding this particular story, and he decided to produce these stories about serial killers. And he has produced this one. So,
wow. Is this his first producing credit?
No, I think he's produced other stuff too, but I think that this was basically based on her listening to this podcast and them saying, hey, let's bring this content to light. Also, Christopher Dunst is about to become, he's actually up for parole. So I think it's like apropos that this is coming out this summer.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So with that being said, you all, we'll see you next week at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here at the Tingling Tea. Please like, subscribe, click the bell on YouTube so that you can get more of our content. Please share this content, and we do like comments. Let us know what you want us to do, what to see, or to talk about. We'd love to hear from our fans, and we'd like to give you content that you'd like to see. So without further ado, I just want to tell everybody to stay spooky out there and stay safe. See you next week, Thursday. Take care.